What is it that makes a popular television program a genuine certified hit? Hang around and we're going to discuss that just after I ask you to like if you like it, subscribe if you really like it, share if you really, really like it. No, I don't really need you to do that now. No. Don't subscribe until you've watched the whole thing, and if you like it, and then you see some other videos here, and there are a rich assortment of them, if you like those or you think you might, then please like, subscribe, do all those things. Costs you nothing, helps me make more videos, and makes me feel deeply wanted. And that's the most important part. So what makes a hit television series a hit television series? Is it the plot? Is it the quality of the production? Is it the zeitgeist that it's the right show at the right time? Or is it down to the magnetic appeal of the central character in the show and therefore the performance of the lead actor? Well, I'm going to say that yes and yes, but sometimes not yes. And that's what I'll be discussing in this video. So what does make a TV show a genuine hit? It could be the actors. Let's say you don't get a good show without good actors, but of course there are more great actors than there are stars in the world. And sometimes it's just the pairing or the casting of a group of people who have a certain chemistry between them. So we have individual chemistry between two, or we have an ensemble flavour where it's almost impossible to say who the star is. And of course, throughout the history of television, we've had incidences where when the show started, the producers didn't know who the star was really going to be. Could we have had Happy Days without the Fonz? Well, he was a very minor character until he wasn't. He was the star. In some shows, it hardly matters at all. I mean, Ridge in Bold and Beautiful, been played very famously by Ron Moss for many, many years. But now I believe another actor is doing it, and people who like the show don't care much. Famously in Bewitched, they swapped one Dick for another, with Dick Sargent and Dick York apparently being interchangeable as the husband of the Samantha character. Perhaps because the straight guy doesn't really matter. You get the breakout and obvious ones recent time, Sheldon of the Big Bang Theory. He was supposedly one of two equal and then three equal, when they got around to making the series, lead performers. Then they added a bit more of an ensemble, and Big Bang Theory is a good ensemble comedy, but take Sheldon out of the equation and it just would not work. But sometimes that's not always the case. Let's have a look in the animated realm. For example, I could not imagine The Simpsons without Homer. He very quickly became the breakout character in that show, although originally people were a bit more drawn towards Bart. It's really Homer's show now, and just about all the very good episodes are seen through his lens. Yeah, there are occasional ones that focus on Marge or Lisa or some of the other characters, but really it's Homer that show is about. Take him out does not work. A similar show, and some people say a very similar show, Family Guy, the central character is Peter Griffin. And yet to me, he's the least interesting character in that whole ensemble. I think you could very easily take Peter Griffin out of the Family Guy and it wouldn't lose a lot. In fact, arguably would gain something. We'd get more Stewie and Brian stories are great. We'd get more Meg. We'd get more Lois. We'd get more Joe and Quagmire and those supporting actors, or characters that I think each individually and certainly collectively are far more interesting than Peter Griffin. Now, I came very late to the party with a show called How I Met Your Mother. It's so late, in fact, that I think there's been a sequel series that has come and gone in the meantime. But when I look at it, and when I first looked at it, I thought the show was all about Neil Patrick Harris's character, Barney. And I thought, well, this is the central character. And I couldn't work out the flashbacks or the flash forwards or whatever they were, and the emphasis that seemed to be somewhere else. Because to me, Barney was what it was all about. And I can't even think off the top of my head the name of the character it's supposed to be about. And I don't know, it just would have occurred to me that there was a better show, perhaps, even within that, if the focus had been slightly different. Now, I know that if you deconstruct that character, it is deeply problematic, but, it's 15, 20 years ago, a creature of its times, perhaps. On the contrary, the dromedary, if there's such a thing, is it a serious show? Is it a comedy? Is it just a very dark comedy? House. Imagine, even though there is a rich cast of amazing, relatable supporting characters, brilliant actors portraying them, whatever, where is House without Hugh Laurie? A masterstroke of casting, something that I would guarantee the producers didn't realize how lucky that they were, because there were Americans dealing with Hugh Laurie, who was a known name in comedy in the UK, but not very well known to them. That's probably just as well for him, because if they'd probably seen episodes of Fly and Laurie, if they'd seen Blackadder, if they'd seen some of the other work he'd done, they wouldn't appreciate how well Hugh Laurie could nail the character of Gregory House. 2.5 Men is a good one of the rare examples we get of when the lead character, who I considered to be the lead character, Charlie Sheen, left under difficult circumstances, and the show was lesser for it, and it just sort of stumbled along. Now, I may be a little bit biased there because I'm not a huge fan of the guy who replaced Charlie Sheen in anything that he does, and maybe that's my fault that I could not see the possibilities that the producers could see. But they were basically backed into a corner where they stopped production, or they put somebody else in the role and changed the essential structure of the show. The other factor there also being that the half-man character grew up and a few things happened outside of the office place, as did happen with Charlie Sheen, that made it a bit difficult for them to craft that show. So there you go, and I'm sure there's lots of other examples of shows that lost characters. Roseanne left Roseanne. The Connor family moves on and on and on. Not so much, I think it was Valerie's family, the Hogan family. That got a couple of more series after the star left. Again, contract difficulties, that sort of thing. 8 Rules for Dating My Daughter. John Ritter died, but the show did last a little bit longer. These are circumstances where it's been imposed from outside. But I'd like to hear from you. Shows that just absolutely needed the star quality of the central character, and ones that truly were ensemble, and you could, even to this day, you could take one or two of them out and it would still work. And I guess some very long-running shows, I guess something like ER, although I was never a fan, seemed to last because perhaps a bit like a soap opera, which forgive me for saying this if you're a huge fan, it's essentially what it is. The revolving cast actually adds longevity, whereas with most TV series that we remember are of limited length for a reason, because they just run out of steam and possibilities with the characters they've got. And very often that is a good thing. I've always said, many years reviewing theatre, sometimes less is more. Anyway, like your thoughts, please subscribe if you like this video. Check out the other videos that I do, because some of them are very different to this one, and you might find something you like a little bit more or a little bit less, and you can always go in to my YouTube page and, pick and choose, see what you'd like, or go somewhere else. But, you would be deeply offending me if you didn't at least give it a go. That's all for now. Stay tuned.